Welcome back to another episode of Decentralized Chain. It's Feroz, and in today's episode, we are going to be catching up with Richard. That's right, our monthly update with Saito to find out all the latest that's been happening and what we can expect. We're talking about resourcing, we're talking about listings, we're talking about partnerships, pretty much everything to do with Saito. If you want to find out more, stay tuned. But just before we do, if this is the first time you're here and you want to learn more about crypto, whether it's news, insights, or analysis, to help you get that edge, start now by hitting the subscribe button below and the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes. Better still, why don't you come on over and join us in the Telegram community? Plenty of crypto enthusiasts, from novices to pro traders. So certainly no question is too big and definitely no question is too small to help you on that crypto journey. That's enough with me. Let's jump into the interview with Richard and see exactly what Richard has to say. Richard, welcome back to the show. Great to have you here as always.
It's great that it's regular enough to be always now. It is always a pleasure.
It is always. Can't believe we've had 3 of those, which means we've had at least 3 months pass since we first started. So, you know, it is really...
Yeah. Yesterday was the 3rd anniversary of the IDO. So we've been out in the real world for 3 months as such. It's great. It's great actually having these fence markers, these fence posts to go over what we talked about last time and remember just how much we've done in this month.
Exactly. Yeah, cool. So let's kick off. I mean, what's the latest with the team over at Saito? I mean, last time when we spoke, we had a drive around marketing, and I noticed Shirley was onboarded. So where are we now?
Well, Shirley's been whipping the sort of ambassador and outreach teams into shape, and the good news there is I think we'll be putting out some advertisements and requests for more ambassadors, community people, and perhaps another kind of social media person in the next while. We're finalizing how we want to shape that. But what we're finding is, I mean, that's really a good story, and that we've been increasing what we're doing with community, etc., and that's been rewarding and pushing the project forward. So we want to double down on that and really sort of look for more ways to connect with more people. At the same time, development continues to motor ahead, and we're looking at the moment for someone to join us in the JavaScript, Node.js space to kind of keep the Saito.io site kicking over. We've got some great product ideas, things coming out of that marketing drive and community interaction, and so we're looking at sort of adding some features there and kind of getting a little bit back to that platform as well. So team's growing, it's exciting. It's just a matter of, it's always hiring is always difficult.
But finding the staff is the hard one.
It's like dating again and again.
I mean, you mentioned community earlier, and there's a fair few things that are happening that I've noticed. Can we talk a bit more about the ambassador program? What does that entail exactly?
Well, so we've started off. It's everything sort of you start off as a central core and you work out. And I think anyone who's watching the project will see we're getting a lot more content together. And we've got a lot of activities and community interaction going on, which is great. And we really love that because it's bringing people to the project and giving people involved in the project more. But what that means then is we've actually at the moment kind of gone into a phase where I think we've got a lot happening. We're not necessarily getting it to as many people as we can and getting it out there. And part of the idea with expanding the ambassador program is finding, say, folks on Reddit or in particular sub Reddits, communities online, etc., and helping them work with us to get the word out. So we're kind of happy with our existing channels. Telegram's active, Twitter's active, getting a lot of interest. But that doesn't mean we've kind of met everyone we need to meet. And there's really specific things, particularly with the interaction in the polkadot space. Obviously, they do a lot of things on tools like Element, Matrix, which are these decentralized or federated chat systems. And so, we want to find people who are already active there who can help work, sort of who are also already members of our community to go out and spread the word through those channels. So
that's champions for Saito, basically.
Right. Well, I mean, that's, when you're a project like we are, which has a message based entirely on fundamentals and thinking through core issues in blockchain, then really the best people to get the word out are people who've gone through that process and sort of seen the light, joined the project on those intellectual grounds, and are inspired by them. And that's really what we're trying to get with our sort of outreach. That's why we call it outreach more often than marketing, because we're just trying to get to people to let them know what we're doing. And, we will live or die as a project in the end by people, grappling with the ideas and coming to, sort of value them.
In terms of, and I see the tournaments are hotting up as well, should we say, right?
How they get on down to started.io/arcade. If you can put that in the notes or something. We've got a few things, setting up a poker club for people who want to play there. And then different people in our longer term community are starting to set up tournaments, etc. That has the dual aim of just being something fun to do and participate with the community, as well as, I think I said last time, we really want to ramp up the volume on the Saito chain so that we're creating more and more traffic to test out these next generation implementations of the protocol that we're building. And they're going to be much more capable and much more robust. So they're going to need a lot more traffic to sort of test them out. So we're really keen on doing what we've always done and pushing that through organic channels of getting real use on the network. There's nothing like real usage to test out and build what people need.
It's the arcade's really cool, just purely because it's not just any old random games, but it is general everyday games that people play. So it's quite easy to just sort of jump in and be part of that as well, which I quite like. Yeah,
that's nice. I mean, the whole reason one of the games is on that Twilight Struggle is simply that we were fans of it.
Yeah.
And we decided, it really started off as, what is something incomprehensibly difficult to build on a blockchain? Because that will help us solve the problems that developers are going to run into building what they want to build on a blockchain. Essentially, if you can build that game on chain, you can build anything on chain.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good approach.
And what's been great about that is we've got this really great nexus community between blockchain people and developers and enthusiasts for the game itself, who like what we built as a better implementation than they can find elsewhere online.
Exactly right. So in terms of, I also, you mentioned outreach earlier. I've noticed you had your first town hall, what was it, towards the tail end of last month, actually. It was around 30th, right?
Yeah, that's right. So with a few things that have come up this month, we've decided to make it a start of month thing and then kind of wrap up the previous month and then look toward having some topics. And that's really off the back of great participation and then feedback in the last one. And we like the idea of having a really low barrier to entry, fun way to catch up with the project and to engage and to give people a connection, make it easy to ask a question direct to the founders, as well as we'll hopefully start introducing more of the team in this next one, give people more of a flavor of what's going on at the project, who's involved, what we're doing. So,
there's quite a few things there. You've had the town hall, and then you started doing issues of the voice, should I say, as well. And that was good as well, actually. Just quick snippets of questions that you sort of have floating around being answered.
That's one of the kind of interesting things where people would say of our Telegram group, us included, well, it's some of the best discussion we've seen around on these topics on blockchain design, etc. Really high quality stuff, and it's slipping by. And so people say, well, why don't we just republish that for anyone who's interested? Crystallize it down and get that to people, because I think it's a good demonstration of what's going on, and also it's quality material that's being typed out there. And so let's get it to more people. And I kind of like that. It was an ambassador initiative, and it's come to be something that I think a lot of people are going to for information. So
it's really good, because I mean, with Telegram's great for the moment. When the conversation's happening there and then, but the problem is those conversations can get lost just as easily amongst the. You just got to turn your head away for like 3 seconds, and all of a sudden you've got another 50 chats. So you kind of lose that.
Right. I've had funny conversations internal in the project with colleagues who have seen something on Telegram that I missed, and then it turns out that they're responding to a community request or something I had no idea, and everyone's just assumed it was common knowledge because it was a hot topic on Telegram for an hour.
Exactly.
So it's good to catch those things and put them somewhere where we can see them and reuse them.
So in terms of expansions, listings, we had what was it, Coinbeta? Coinbeta was one of them, right? ZT Global recent?
So I mean, it was just that. But actually, someone in the team told me that the other day, so I checked it out, and yes, they've got a pair listed, etc. It's basically just nice to see that we're, I think, getting that kind of constant attention from people. We hadn't been pursuing that, so that's just nice to see another little place people can go if they want to get involved.
Actually, I mean, talking about attention from people, I suppose. Partnerships, right? So I couldn't help but notice the Elrond partnership mentioned a few weeks back, which it is pretty big in my eyes in terms of communities that come with partnerships.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite surprised how when they contacted us and how energetic and interested they were in what we were doing and how keen they were to work together and how quickly they were able to move forward. I'd kind of forgotten them a little bit, and I think actually they've picked that up too, and they're really trying to work on, finding some spaces where they can excel and move forward really quickly with things like NFTs, etc. And that's the heart of what we're wanting to do together with them. It's just starting out, but being able to do things like, our targets of being able to do things like have NFT prizes, etc. in games on the arcade and that kind of facility for their developers in the first stage, and then longer term to be able to be part of the go to live a business plan of people building things with assets on their chains. What really impressed us as well is the effort they put into announcing things and to kind of getting people aware of what's happened. It really mattered a lot to us, and we've been really pleased with them as partners so far. And so kind of pushing forward actually internally on getting things going with them. We're sort of, like we were saying earlier, we're expanding, etc. So we're always strapped for bandwidth to do everything we want to achieve. But that's certainly standing out as one of the best interactions we've had with another project in the space. So credit to them.
It was really great to see, actually. A lot of buzz in the community from both pockets, actually, which was great. Now, in terms of development, I mean, there's a fair few things. How's Saito Rust coming along?
It's motoring along. We're actually flipping from the kind of build out the project to get it sort of towards deployability in its first instance, so that we can start putting some pressure testing against it, etc. So that's coming along. It's one of those things. It's all open and public in the code repository, but until people using it, that's a developer thing, not a community thing. But we're really excited about what's going there. I think bigger than that, this last month has been people who were following us before and around the IDO would have heard us talking a lot about the Web3 grant.
Yes.
Web3 Foundation grant, and we submitted that finally with some clear air, and worked with them to make sure everything was sort of up to speed and correct, and that was accepted in reasonably good time, which means that's been, we can now officially say we're a Web3 grant recipient.
Oh wow! Congratulations! That's
well, thank you. And it's nice to have that, because again, that partnership's been a core part of moving Saito forward, and it's something we value really highly. And kind of in respect of that, we've launched our first sort of big polkadot ecosystem kit, which is the .arcade. And what that is, and I think this is really the big thing we've done the last month, and really big news for the project. What that allows to happen is for dot ecosystem tokens. Now, at the moment, that's dot Kusama and West End, and we'd really recommend people do this with testnet tokens, to be first-class citizens in applications on the Saito network. That's really important, because I think it demonstrates the sort of Saito open infrastructure thesis in reality. And what it means is it shows a very different way, a whole new paradigm for developers in the Web3 space to build their applications in actually a far more genuinely peer-to-peer fashion than we see with the classic things we think of, kind of in the DeFi space and those sorts of things like Uniswap, which are actually on project servers running. In a lot of ways, without the project, they're turned off. They're actually very centralized in that sense. No issue with that. It's one model. But we hope what people can see with .arcade is, wait, you can build genuine peer-to-peer interactions as a Web3 project. And over time, obviously, we've gone with the hallmark tokens first, but it will be very simple for parachain projects to build web-present, genuinely peer-to-peer applications that support their parachain with all the power of Saito behind them. So both having an immediate business model to pay for that infrastructure and not having to centralize it like with an infura.
Yeah.
But also having a way of making sure that the transactions and the load that's going onto their precious parachain space and time is kept to the essential minimum, i.e. an NFT change hands, rather than having to also carry the load of all of the other on-chain traffic that Saito can happily deal with at capacity. So it's a really huge moment because we've been saying that for a long time. And obviously it's engaging enough that people have gotten very interested in what we're doing as a project and supported us on the back of that. So it's really, really good to be able to show them a concrete example and say, here's how that works. It's only stage one. There's a lot more we can do to tighten that integration, but we think it's a great way for developers to visualize sort of non-MetaMask ways of delivering really great user experiences online, but staying very Web3. So exciting times.
No, big milestone on a number of different fronts, to be honest, Richard.
Yeah.
So, it's a testament to the team and the effort you've all put in behind pushing Saito forward.
It's also kind of funny because we've grown as a team. So previously we'd have probably much smaller victories and we'd all be running around very conscious of them because we'd then be promoting them, etc. And this one's been interesting because it's sort of been handed over to the outreach team to go and take it to the world. And in a way, it's sort of like, well, there was the inevitable last minute, last mile of work to get it sort of delivered, and then went on to the next thing. And it's kind of it's easy to forget how kind of monumental it is for the project in the space. So.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Richard, look, thank you once again for the update, and I'm certainly looking forward to catching up next month. There's clearly, you guys are in full speed here.
It'll be 2.5 weeks away.
Yeah. That's true. I was thinking more 4 weeks, but you're right. It's just around the corner. But any last words for our viewers before we wrap up the call?
No, just I think do go along and have a look at saito.io/.arcade, all one word. I think you'll be really impressed. And enjoy that while you're there because it's quite fun.
I know. Check it out. Links are all in the description below, and I'll pop some things up here when the video actually goes live as well. Well, Richard, thank you so much, and I'll catch up with you same time next month.